Right. Another minute and we'll kick things off.
Yep, sounds good, Jeffin.
All right. I think we're on time. What do you say, John? Kick this off.
Yeah, do you want to just maybe give just one more minute, just for everyone to settle in and we get started?
Sure. I mean, in the meantime, to all who've joined, guys, hello and welcome. Not sure which time zone y'all are joining us from. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And thank you very much for taking the time to join. Uh, as John said, we'll give everyone a minute to settle in, and maybe more folks are going to be joining, and we'll get started.
Yep, I think we're on the minute mark, Jeffin.
All right, perfect, guys. Quick housekeeping as we're going ahead. There should be a QR that I'm gonna show on screen, right? I'd like everyone to just scan the QR on screen, please. I promise it's not a phishing link. It's just a link to a Slido, which is what we're using to manage the Q&A. You can open out some polls as well to ask some questions, right? And if you log in there, you should already see a Q&A section that's live. So feel free to start dropping any questions that are there, and we'll pick that up towards the end.
Right, I'm scanning it, Jeffin. I see two tabs, a Q&A tab and a polls tab. So I'm assuming the audience is supposed to drop their questions in the Q&A tab, right?
Yeah, that's the one. The polls are for
Okay,
when we'll need some help from the audience.
awesome.
Great. Glad that that's working. So actually, let's also put it to a test, right? So see if the polls are actually working. So to folks in the audience, quick question. Go to the poll section and you should see this live right away, right? And when you guys signed up for this webinar, what were your expectations and what did you want to get out of it? It's free text, so feel free to add anything you want, but preferably use maybe 3 words max.
Hmm. Should it come out in the polls section, Jeffin?
Yeah, that's in the poll section.
Oh,
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
Okay, got it.
Okay, I see some folks typing. Right. All right. We're seeing answers coming in. Great.
Well, yep, I think the answers have started to come in, Jeffin, which means that I guess we got a quorum to get started. Just before we get started, like, how about a quick round of introductions?
Yes, absolutely. So, folks, I'm Jeff and Matthew. I'm part of the revenue team here at DevRev. I lead the sales efforts across the ASEAN region. And before DevRev, I spent close to a decade in the SaaS space with Freshworks and Microsoft, helping companies mostly modernize their CRM and support operations. At DevRev, I play sort of a builder role, working closely with companies to help them successfully adopt and implement AI across various teams and the workflows they want to solve for. Now, with that, let me pass that on to you, John.
Hey, thanks, Jeffin. Well, firstly, just hi everyone. Thank you for taking precious time off today to join us in this session here. My name is John Lim. I'm based out of Singapore and I head up our solutions engineering efforts in the ASEAN region. Now, I spent over 16 years in software development before moving into solutions engineering. Now, coming from that background, it's amazing actually to witness this shift, right? Where we started with software eating the world, and now we're saying AI is eating software. So that makes my role at DevRev really, really exciting, which is to help customers transition to this new paradigm and also be successful with their AI initiatives. So thank you all again for taking precious time off. I do hope that I get the opportunity to work with all of you on your AI journey as well.
Awesome. And folks, just a quick introduction to Nivedita and Stalia as well. Not sure if they're going to show their faces here, but they really help us put this together.
Yep. Thanks, Nivi. Thanks, Talia.
Awesome. Guess that's enough about us. What do you say we proceed, John?
Yep, that's a good idea.
All right.
So, go ahead, Jeffin.
Good. Okay, so you know what? Technically, what we had planned for today is like a webinar, right? But I'm thinking I was also looking at the polls that were coming in, and there's one that says demo. So I don't want people to walk away unhappy. So I'm thinking, hey, what do we do and change it up a little bit, John? Let's keep it real, right? Just a conversation between you and me about data silos. And in the process, try and incorporate topics that they've mentioned, like data silo impact, making AI work, and a demo, of course, as well. The audience wanted.
Sure. Okay, Jeffin. Yeah, rolling the punches, right? Sure. But then, what's the plan here?
Well, I really want everyone to take away something from listening to us today, right? And we can still use some of the things that we've already planned, but the idea is to keep it relevant to the topic of data silos and include things like impact and demo.
Cool. So, just to be clear, in today's session, are we still talking about why data silos hurt AI implementations and how we help customers overcome them?
Yes, sir. We're still sticking to the script for most part of it, and I'm guessing we have about 45 minutes. So I figured I'll throw some theories. You play the role of the skeptic and poke some holes in them, and we'll see what sticks.
Poke holes, you say? Sure, I'm more than happy to do that. But make sure you can handle it.
Bring it on, my friend.
Okay. So to set the stage,
Mhm.
maybe just take a step back. Like, what are three things we're hoping our audience will take away today?
Super. Yep, good question. So, firstly, I want them to understand what data silos actually mean. Second, why it's a bigger problem than what most people realize it to be. And third, let's maybe showcase some of this for the audience, like the demo, show the impact live and working. And just to have like an overarching theme around this to really drive the story home, I'm thinking let's keep customer support front and center.
Yep. Awesome. That will do. And the demo like is just classic, right? Throwing, the SE under the bus. But I can prepare that while we are talking. So basically, we're going to use customer support as an example,
Mhm.
to explain the problems with data silos and also the use case, acting as a use case for the demo, right? And that's where really DevRev comes in.
Right. Man, John, that's why you're the brains of this thing. You always articulate things better than me.
Thanks, Jeffin. All right, then. Maybe to start off, Jeffin, maybe we can start like this. Like in your experience, how would you explain data silos to teams, right, in customer support today? Like, how do you explain that, right? Everyone seems to throw that term around.
Right, fair. Well, to take a step back, right? Everybody today wants to implement AI in some form or the other, right? But not so long ago, we all saw this particular MIT study that came out, which said about 95 percentages of all Gen AI implementations at enterprises are failing, right? And this has sparked a ton of debate and chatter, but I wanted to pull out one specific thing that really stood out, which is also what our topic of discussion today is, which is this problem statement called data silos. So, what are data silos exactly?
Mhm.
Let's start picturing how support teams work today, right? They've got their big ticketing system, which is hopefully omni-channel, so all conversations are going to funnel in. A CRM to understand who are the customer that's reaching out, a knowledge base and a dashboard somewhere to manage and monitor work, maybe a shared sheet, and then a whole bunch of Slack threads to get answers from engineers and other folks in the company that they liaise with. So it's actually chaos if you think about it, organized chaos at best.
Hmm. So you're saying that's chaos, Jeffin, but that's the norm, isn't it? Like, come on, like, just isn't it just how everyone works?
That's the problem right there. People have normalized it. They've accepted that context switching and delays are just part of the job. And if humans who are smart have trouble doing this, imagine how it compounds when we implement AI on top of it.
But hold on, let's take a step back. Like, why do data silos even happen in the first place?
Fair point. Most of the software solutions available today are built around being point solutions, right? And each of these becomes a system of record. And as the organization scales, every team and department start optimizing their tools to manage their own individual work. And this leads to multiple such systems of record in the company. And this is what creates scattered data sets of information. So data silos happen when the information about the same customer or issue is scattered across different systems of record. And if you think about it, support teams are only seeing fragments of the same story. And to piece it all together, each of them needs to juggle between these multiple tools. And that's only if they even have access to these tools. And when you add AI on top of these legacy softwares with siloed data sets, you actually end up being part of that 95% failed AI implementations, like what MIT stated.
I see. So if I am to read between the lines correctly, it's not just about missing data. It's also about missing context.
That's right. Yes. You can have all the data in the world, but if it's available in, let's say, six different systems, you're not really solving, you're just stitching, and no one really has the full picture.
Hmm. Well, all right. That makes sense, I think, in theory, right? But everyone seems to be managing fine, to be honest. Like, why should anyone care beyond some minor inefficiency?
Man, you sound like every exec I've spoken to before their first crisis call. The cost of data silos isn't just inefficiency, it's missed insight. So let's look at this in the example of customer support, right? Your agents take longer to respond, affecting response times and satisfaction scores. The reports are off, and your product team never really learns from real customer issues. And this is the ripple effect that it causes.
Right. So what you're saying here is that data silos cause big problems. As much as I like to believe them, and you told me to be a skeptic, Jeffin, so I don't see it as a problem at all. Yeah,
Okay.
especially, but since today's session isn't really just about me, let's actually, how about we check this with the audience to see if they've experienced this and resonate with you.
Sure.
So, yeah, so everyone, here's a link to a quick poll. Is it just me who thinks that data silo is not a problem, or do you guys actually resonate with what Jeffin is talking about?
John, I'm telling you, it's just going to be you. So, folks, is it just John?
Yeah, I'm sure they eat it for breakfast.
So, guys, again, go to Slido, the poll section. You should see this question come up. Select the option you want to and hit send, and you should see the answer there. All right, I see what's coming in. John, looks like it is just you. More people are.
I guess I'm, always the slow one in the room then. Yeah, but just for my benefit, I hope you don't mind. Like, I still don't really understand.
That's okay. I mean, initially I didn't get it either, right? But let the facts speak for themselves. Now, I have a slide prepared for this as well, right? So about one third of the businesses surveyed by HubSpot have already seen revenue loss that is attributed to fragmented customer data. And even fewer, which is about 31%, believe that their data is accessible to AI systems. And then there's also the impact on customer experience. Now, what this really shows is how closely customer satisfaction ties to business outcomes, right? When customers aren't happy, they don't just complain, they actually leave. In fact, studies show that dissatisfied customers are 4 times more likely to switch providers. Now, on the flip side, in SaaS, even a small 5% improvement in retention can boost profits by upwards of almost 25%. And this is as surveyed by Gainsight. So every point in your CSAT score, every customer experience that feels disjointed because of data silos, it all adds up. The cost of poor experience isn't just in tickets or time, it's in lost loyalty, and this impacts long-term revenue.
All right, fine, Jeffin. I mean, I guess you can't argue with facts, right? So you've convinced me. But so to quickly summarize what I've heard so far, right? Data silos arise because teams work with different tools. Now that causes
Right?
a lot of inefficiency because of missing context, which in turn, especially in a customer support setting, creates poor customer experience, which then impacts a company's revenue. Did I get it right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
All right. So then what's the fix here, Jeffin? Are you saying that we should just throw everything into one giant tool?
Well, so the goal isn't just one tool, it's one flow. Systems can stay different, but context should travel seamlessly. Everyone should be looking at the same source of truth, not really just trying to sync some spreadsheets on a Friday night.
So is this where AI comes in then?
Well, yes and no, right? Because with AI, it's going to be like garbage in, garbage out. Now, let me give you another stat. Barely any companies, and which is only about 9%, trust that their data, trust their data enough actually for any sort of accurate reporting. making it near impossible to make an educated or guided decision. Now, imagine when this goes into being consumed by AI to help in the decision making process. With context, at least the AI can make more sense of the data and what we're trying to achieve so that we get some meaningful help.
All right. So, and I know this is going to sound wrong, right? But that's a company's problem. Like, how does that affect the individual?
Fair question, right? So if you think about it, silos don't just increase resolution times and hinder performance numbers. It's also about the emotional quotient, right? Think about how
Hmm?
the support rep feels when he's dealing with that one ticket. And people feel frustration, John, and that unknowingly translates into our daily work.
Frustrations, you say? Come on, man. Yeah, I think you're just exaggerating here.
I'm not, John. It's just like how you're frustrating me with all these questions. Right. So actually, you know what? Let's, like you said, it's not about us. Let's go to the audience again for this one. So folks who've joined us, quick pulse check to see if this makes sense, right? Go to your Slidos again. I'm going to open up another poll. And the question this time is, hey, what's the biggest impact of data silos on your team? And now I want all of you to take some time on this one to really feel the angst and respond, because like I said, it's all about the emotional quotient at work. And I'm going to read out some of the options as well. And this is based on what I've spoken to a lot of leaders that work in the CX space. Firstly, is that sinking feeling when response times slip and quality drops, and every bad experience feel personal. And then you see that your teams are really doing their best, but it's never really enough, right? You see them hustling, firefighting, yet costs are high and they just don't go away. And the last one actually hits home. It's like the hardest part, which is flying blind, making decisions with fragmented data and hoping that you're doing the right thing while results say otherwise. Or it could be that you have no frustrations at all, or it's something else entirely. So take maybe about 10 more seconds to actually say something on this, and let's see how the responses are coming in.
Right. Yeah, truth be told, Jeffrey, it's kind of you explaining this. I do remember from the customer perspective, right? Whenever I go into a customer support or a chat, that sinking feeling that nothing happens, or I don't know, I'm flying blind. So yeah, I think you're right in this one.
Okay, let's
Yeah.
what do you
And
think? Look at the results.
yeah, I'm looking at the
Um,
poll here and we're seeing a mix. And the top two ones are really, when customers struggle, so do you. And your team's doing their best, but it's never enough.
yeah, see, I think they're starting to realize, and they're saying this as well, right? It's not just an operational issue, it also becomes a leadership problem that affects both your top line and reputation. Now, let's put some numbers behind it as well. When agents waste time juggling between five different systems, resolution times increase by 30 to 40%, and onboarding a new support rep takes twice as long. This leads to manual work, which leads to rising costs. On the flip side, again, customers are experiencing slower response times, inconsistent answers, repetitive back and forth that frustrate them as well. And every missed SLA or bad experience compounds. And here's where it really hurts, right? Research shows that companies with poor customer experience see customer churn rates sometimes upwards of 25%. And a single viral negative review can cut NPS by up to 5 points. That will directly cost a dent in your revenue growth.
So I see. Okay, but so this actually isn't a problem just about fixing inefficiency then, right? It's also about protecting brand value and revenue continuity.
Correct. And let me walk you through what that looks like in real life, right? Imagine a support agent's life. A ticket
Mm-hmm.
comes in from a customer. What's the first thing they do? They start jumping between systems. They start looking at the CRM to understand who the customer is, a billing tool to check if they're a premium or a free customer, product logs to see what's broken, a couple of Slack threads maybe to check if anybody else has reported the same. So they start by doing detective work, don't really get to problem solving. And if you're a new person on the job and this hasn't even become a habit, just think about it. You're just jumping to send out a response that probably doesn't even make sense. And now picture what it feels like for the agents, right? Because the clock's ticking, customers are waiting, every minute adds pressure. Meanwhile, the customer's frustration builds up because they're just constantly repeating themselves. The agent feels helpless, the manager's dashboards shows delayed resolutions, and leadership's wondering why churn is creeping up. This is the ripple effect of data silos that I'm talking about.
Got it. Yeah, you know what? I actually now getting more a apathy, I think, like understanding how customer support kind of works behind the scenes there, right? Before even replying to customers, they're essentially playing like an information scavenger hunt there.
Yeah, yeah. Scavenger hunt's the right word. Because every hop between these systems add delays, frustration, and context loss. Now imagine instead, right, next to the ticket, the agent had something that we can call as a single view of customer, a panel that pulls in everything, account year, product usage, open issues, past conversations, even what feature they complained about last week, all in one screen,
That would be amazing because then they start with context, right? Not confusion.
right? So that way, instead of asking maybe five back and forth questions just to understand what's wrong, the agent can jump straight into problem solving mode. No friction and no wasted time.
Yeah, it does remind me of the phrase, right? Where you know you have smart people doing dumb things. So it really makes sense. But maybe perhaps, what's the business impact, right? Beyond making one agent's day easier, like what's the business impact?
Good question. So when you add all of this up, what it means is faster resolution times, happier customers, fewer
Mhm.
escalations, better insights for product and engineering. And to share a personal example, actually, one of our customers saw a 25% drop in average resolution time and a 30% improvement in CSAT within 3 months of unifying all their data context.
Wow, that's actually huge. So alignment really does show up in the numbers.
Yeah, I mean, when data moves freely, teams move faster. Support doesn't just become reactive anymore, it
Mhm.
becomes strategic.
Hmm. Well, you make it sound easy, right, Jeffin? But we both know that tearing down silos isn't that simple. There are tools, data, models, permissions. It's messy.
That is very true, right? And to think about it, you've been grilling me for a while now. Right? Easy to ask the question, right?
Well, you did ask me to poke holes in you, so and someone's got to keep you honest, man.
That's that's fair. You do a fair job with that. All right, so let's flip the script. Enough theory from me. Let's see action. So why don't you show us, John, how some of this might work? And I'll play the role of the skeptic, right? And I'll
Mhm.
start poking holes. So can we really unify data and context the way I've been talking about, or am I just mouthing off?
Sure. I think that's fair. And I think like I'll start off, kind of from the basics. So let me ask you this, Jeffin, like how do you learn in general?
So I'm the kind of guy that likes to go from one, two, and three. Can't skip steps. So why don't you start from fundamentals and work your way up?
Awesome. And that's pretty much how I learn as well. All right, so to begin, let's go to ground zero, right? Let's
Mhm.
start with what DevRev is all about.
Okay, that's a great place to start. I mean, given all the things that our platform can do, I've had some prospects ask me, hey, it's difficult to understand what you do.
I see. Well, this is how I always explain it, right? So imagine if your entire company, and that means, for example, your product, engineering, support, sales, and customer success teams, right? Imagine if all of them could finally work together on one platform with a
Mhm.
single source of truth about their customers and their product. That's what DevRev delivers. So at its core, DevRev is an AI-powered platform that connects the people who build your product with the people who use it. Hence the name DevRev. Dev being the proxy for the people who build products or provide the services, and Rev being the proxy for the revenue side of things like your customers. Bringing that information void between those two entities. So instead of having customer support, product management, and engineering all working in separate tools and silos, DevRev brings them together. And this means that when the customer has an issue or a request, it doesn't get lost in translation. The right people see it, the right work gets done, and the customer feels heard fast.
And hence the name DevRev. Now, I've always loved the wordplay, to be honest. But let's also say, how does DevRev help achieve that?
Well, yeah, to your point about data silos, right? So
Mhm.
we first needed to solve that problem for companies. And that took us actually more than 2 years and over 300 engineers to solve.
Yeah, let's feel a little proud about that for ourselves. But then that must have also cost a lot of money, man.
It absolutely did. Like if I got the numbers correct, it's like over $100 million just to solve that. But it just serves to highlight what a complex problem it is actually, right? And the way we solved this was via or is via proprietary technology called async. right? So
Okay.
this technology now allows us to ingest both structured and unstructured data into DevRef computer, but also
Mhm.
write back to those external systems via two-way sync. Basically, connecting to any systems you already may use today, like Salesforce, Jira, or even Google Workspace. The remarkable thing about this technology is that we are able to ingest data in a lossless manner, which
Mhm.
means that we're also preserving the permissions from those source systems. So you do not have to worry about losing contextual information or even about AI leaking data to users who do not have permission or access to that piece of information.
Mhm. I mean, that sounds amazing. Lossless ETL, two-way sync. But in the process, did I hear you say DevRef computer?
Oh, sorry about that, right? So computer by DevRef is what we're calling your new AI teammate that's
Okay.
designed to work alongside your team to unify all your data, automate repetitive tasks, and take action across your work applications. And that's what the DevRef solution is that we'll be getting to, right? But hold on to that thought, it'll all come together later.
Okay, fair.
Now, any other questions about async?
Yeah, let me play back my understanding. Right? So what you're saying is that with async, we've essentially solved for the data silo problem.
Well, yes, but not quite yet. You see, you can have all this data, and like you mentioned earlier, it's still useless without context.
Explain what you mean.
Well, kind of imagine we are in a customer support setting, right? In the customer support setting that we've been talking about, we've pulled in data across different systems like tickets from Zendesk, customer information from your CRM like Salesforce, or perhaps even conversations via email and ongoing tickets in Jira. Now, how do you know that an ongoing email conversation belongs to an important customer, has three associated open tickets in Zendesk, and that engineering hasn't prioritized it at all? That's what happens when there's missing context.
Okay, so you're saying that data without context is basically useless?
Exactly. So this is a good segue to talk about computer memory.
Okay, so that memory meaning like my laptop's memory?
No, no. I mean, I understand the confusion, right? So kind of remember we talked about computer by DevRef is your new AI teammate. Well, computer memory is our patented AI native knowledge graph that links all your company's data, support tickets, product feedback, engineering tasks, sales opportunities, right? Creating your business ontology so that you can see the full picture. All the data is ingested all the data ingested is organized as information into computer's memory, which is a
Okay.
living network of data built around what matters most, your products, dev, and your customers, rev, dev rev. Head.
Okay.
Mhm,
And that's the context I'm guessing you're talking about.
Yeah, you got it. Now, with all that in place, and only with all that in place, have we earned the right to actually apply AI now on top of that, all those to make it searchable, provide insights, and take actions. So across, all different surfaces, all with the right context.
I actually love how you said only now we've earned the right to talk about AI and AI agents. So how would I use it then? Show me an example in the context of customer support.
Sure. And this is where it actually gets really exciting, right? The foundational layers that we've talked about, like async, which solves the data silo issues, and computer memory, which solves the context issues, they are like the mutant X gene that gives individuals superpowers, at least to me, right? So,
Okay.
let me introduce to you, computer for customer.
John, you are hyping up quite a bit.
I hope not. So I'm going to maybe do a quick demo, right? And let's see computer for customer in action. So if I can
Yeah,
just get
let's
access right to the
share
screen,
screen, right? Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
let me do that.
Okay. You should be able to share your screen now.
Let me try that.
You ready for the demo? You prepped all that when we're talking?
Well, I got a mutant X gene there as well. All right, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, awesome. All right, so like I mentioned, let's see computer for customer in action, right? So over here on my screen, I have a fictitious application called Maple Software, which is an e-commerce payment gateway provider for merchants like Emily Freshpicks here, who's logging in because she's received alerts about some failed transactions, right? So she's logging in and kind of notice, right? Lo and behold, as she's logging in, right, she does indeed see, two failed transactions there. So, right, and so now we can actually, based on this scenario, look, understand the power of computer here, right? So I might just add as well that it only takes 7 lines of code, right, to embed what we call computer, which is manifests itself here as a chat widget here. I got to do this annotate. Yep, right. So Emily decides to actually get some help, right, for regarding the failed transactions. Right, and she goes send a message and she says, "Hey, my last payments failed. Like, what's happening?" Now with traditional AI chatbots, that's sent. Okay, yep, sorry. So right now with traditional AI chatbots, right, which are essentially decision tree based, they can only handle deterministic workflows with predefined responses, right? And at best, in such a situation regarding transactions, things dynamic situations may deflect a user to some self-help documentation, right? But we've mentioned computer having all the knowledge, all the context. So computer actually goes beyond that, right? As you can see here in the response, right? Because computer goes beyond what a traditional AI chatbot can do with all that knowledge and context that it has, it's firstly able to see the recent failed transactions, right? Review all her recent transactions. It kind of noticed that computer didn't even need Emily to, provide credentials to say who she is, right? Not only that, computer is actually able to then root cause um, the reason, right, for failed transactions, right? In this case, because currency, the reason for these failures is that the euro currency is not enabled on your account. But computer goes one step further and actually offers her resolution, right? Offers to actually turn on this currency on her behalf, right?
Mm-hmm. It's
Right.
it's actually
So,
it's pretty amazing.
mhm.
I noticed that you didn't enter Emily's details, right? So computer automatically authenticated Emily, checked her permissions, went to her transaction details, went through that list, decoded what's failed, and understood and gave like a very contextual response. Right. So this is when you bring data and context together. That's the power of it.
Right. So not only does computer have information across systems, it has context. It has the ability to reason and take actions, right? And
Mhm.
so kind of notice there's only, USD and Australian dollars here
Right.
being enabled. So let's go ahead and ask the computer to, enable euro currency for Emily there, right? Right, so kind of imagine, right? While computer is processing that request. Now imagine if this was handled by a human, right? A customer support agent. What would have been the effort required to resolve Emily's currency use case? The support agent would have probably needed to go through 3 to 4 different systems, if not more, just to understand and resolve Emily's issue. Not to mention the time it would take to resolve it, typically hours, if not days. But with computer here, kind of notice that, let me just clear this up, kind of notice that now euro is enabled here at the bottom, right?
Right.
So all these, so computer reasoned, took action, enabled euros, and resolved Emily's use case all within under a minute. Now that's the power of computer and specifically computer for customers.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if this was done manually, this could have sometimes taken hours, if not days. And you're saying that the AI agent actually ran a workflow, made an API call to actually enable euro currency for Emily on the back end.
Yeah,
That's
that
amazing.
goes in, that peels back the layers into how the platform works. But essentially, yes, you're right. And that's typically how um, under the covers of computer, we have AI agents, workflows, etc. You're right.
Okay.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. But let's switch gears. Right. Let's take a
Mhm.
look at an internal use case. In this case, computer for support teams.
Mhm.
So assuming it's quarter end and Emily wants to view her transaction report, she clicks the view reports button so that she can, take these reports and close the books. Now she clicks and view reports and lo and behold, failed to retrieve reports, right? Internal server error. Now, I'm not sure about you, Jeffin, but yeah, I'll be really, really frustrated when I see this type of errors, especially at quarter close. So let's
Yeah,
actually
quarter
see.
close, to talk to a salesperson, I'd be frustrated too.
Yeah, I know we just had that, right?
Yeah.
So let's see how computer helps in this situation, right? So given the good experience that Emily had, with chat, she's going to go and decide to use chat again. And this time, she's going to say, hey, I'm trying to view my reports. When I click with the button, I get an error. I need my reports urgently. You can feel it, right? They can sense, all that emotion in her chat there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yeah.
yeah. So this is now waiting, while computer is trying to process it, giving the news situation, kind of behind the scenes. Let me give you a peek, right? Like computer is taking into consideration all this new information, kind of assessing what's going on internally, trying to reason a suitable response based on Emily's new emotions, right? That reasoning, that capability to do that. So in this situation, it has reasoned that the optimal approach here is actually to create a support ticket where Emily can then keep track and converse with technical support staff as necessary. As you can see here, there's a ticket there, right? Converted to a
Mhm.
ticket, and within the interface here, she can now manually track the tickets and converse and get technical support help if necessary. Right?
Yeah, quick call out. I actually found it interesting where, the agent actually realized, the AI agent actually realized the frustration and said, hey, I'm going to back off. Not going to try and resolve this and hallucinate or anything. I'm just going to pass this to a human.
Right. And I guess uh, s- Emily's happy with this in the meanwhile, so she says thanks. So, kind of like, we progress to the next step here. So, I'm sorry, that's a wrong chat here. Yep, in the ticket actually. Okay, so
Yeah.
coming back, let's actually now switch I guess interfaces and talk about computer for support teams. So previously, earlier, we called it computer for customers, and now putting my head on as a head of support, let's look at computer for support teams. So this is a DevRef platform,
Mhm.
and we've embedded computer also on this surface, and by surface, I mean different types of applications like mobile apps, web apps, or even desktop applications. Now, remember that computer earlier automatically created a ticket so that for Emily, so that it can be tracked. Well,
Mhm.
so putting the head on this head of support, I can see that I've received a ticket in the DevRef support dashboard here, right? And as you can see here, error assessing reports. Okay. So some of the things to call out here, right, is
Mhm.
that firstly, computer has automatically detected that this is related to an ongoing incident, right? And updated the ticket accordingly, as you can see here, right? It has also routed it to the correct support group here, which is L3 support engineering. It also correctly detected uh, the incident and linked the ticket to it as well. And it correctly
Right.
detected that Emily is a tier 1 customer as well, right? And giving, things like SLAs, how much time is left.
Mhm. Mhm. Wait, and sorry to jump in. I also see sessions over there. What are those?
Oh, yeah, good catch, Jeffin. So computer for support teams as well has what we call session analytics, if you will, right? And it's actually a recording of things that the customer is doing on the front end, for example. So in this case, we can actually play it back. We can actually see, the errors that Emily actually observed. So again, coming back, right? Like how many times often does the support staff, when someone reports an
Yeah.
issue, actually have all the information they need to solve the issue? No,
Yeah,
right?
I
So
mean, usually
with
the first few
Mhm.
questions are, hey, can you send me a screenshot? Or can you say what error exactly you saw on screen? This is going to be a game changer.
Yeah, troublesome. And the customer may not even reproduce it. Sometimes it might be intermittent. So with session analytics like this, with the recording, it really facilitates the solving of these type of issues, reduces the back and forth, and result, to your point, happier customers and happier businesses.
And
Right?
I see the information is masked.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
Yeah.
sensitive information can be masked as well. So, allaying the fears of, typical security teams there. Sorry.
Yeah.
So you can see 503, they get all the contextual information. Cool.
Correct.
Did I
Yeah.
answer your
Sorry.
question, Jeffin?
Yeah. Sorry to make you digress. Coming back. Yes.
No problem, no problem. I feel that you're just getting back at me for earlier. Anyway, coming back, right? Okay, so coming back just to kind of show you computer interface here, right? So, um, like as a head of support, I have many other activities, right? I have other issues, other tickets, other incidents. Like maybe one of the things I can get help here from computer for support is to maybe ask, hey, should I prioritize this issue, right? So should I
Mhm.
prioritize ticket 27729, right? For me fresh pick. So basically, what I'm trying to drive here and show is that computer is able, like I mentioned earlier, has a full picture across customers, conversations, issues, tickets, and therefore it can be like an advisor, right? Your AI teammate to provide these insights to you and help you get your job done.
Mhm.
Anything to add there, Jeffin? While it's thinking and giving us
Yeah, I mean, I
a
can see.
recommendation?
Yeah, I was thinking I can see in real time what are the aspects that it's considering. And it's interesting that it's going across systems, right? It's looking at a ticket, it's pulling up incidents, it's recognizing Emily, what type of a customer, premium, tier one, and so on. And it's really bringing all that information together to respond. And this goes beyond the realm of just a knowledge-based response, right?
Yeah. And exactly. And as you can see here, it's able to assess the current situation, it's pull out the relevant incident, the critical factors around it, SLAs and suggested actions as well. Right? So pretty comprehensive there. So let's wrap all this up by summarizing all this and
Mhm.
put it into a ticket, right? Back into the ticket so that to ensure, there's efficient handoff, that things that don't get lost in translation, right? And so this will
Yeah.
help that cross-department collaboration, all that, eliminating all that handoff and frustrations we kind of talked about earlier with data silos.
Yeah. I mean, in some context, this is what we can say is what a single view of customer can essentially look like, right? Because everything I need to know about the ticket, about the customer, I have it here, or I can just ask computer and I can get a response right then and there itself. So I can
Yeah.
really see the power of AI
Mhm.
when you give it access to like the right information and the right context. And also, man, sorry, I great, the response is posted. And sorry, just to keep like a time check, right? Because we're on time.
Mm.
Could you also, I mean, all this is great, but could you also show the audience how DevRev's doing this?
Sure. I might just add that, it's not just a single view of a customer, but think of a single view across your entire company as well, right? So pretty
Mhm.
amazing. Now, coming to your ask, sorry, I'm running out of time, right? Now it's really easy, right? Right, for when it comes to ingesting data, solving the data silo issues. It's just strange that, let me just refresh this screen here. So kind of remember we talked about async, right?
Yeah.
Which can automatically pull in data from external source systems. Well, we have many predefined integrations that we call snap-ins, as you can see here. We've got
Mhm.
heaps of them. And to install and use it in DevRev is just really simple, right? Kind of point and click and then just install it, and it'll simply connect to those source systems and bring in those data. So as you can see here for my org itself, or my tenant, for example, I've integrated quite a few of these snap-ins: Jira, ServiceNow, Salesforce, Slack, right? So really easy, point, click, and install.
Yeah, I mean, so that easy, right? Point, click, install. Man, I'm gonna start losing commissions on all the professional services I can sell.
uh, I wouldn't go there, not right now, Jeffin, but yeah, DevRef, just point, click, install, and DevRef handles the rest. Easy peasy.
No, that's fair. I mean, thank you very much, John. Again, just keeping time on top of mind, right? Just to recap, think we are almost at the top of the 45 minutes. We should wrap this up. And so, just to summarize, right, John, what do you think we actually spoke about today?
Yeah, good point. I'm always afraid audiences lose track of what we're talking about. But this is what
Yeah.
I heard, right? I heard why data silos are a problem, a challenge. I've heard what are the impact and the so-called harm it can do. And
Mhm.
I presented how DevRef overcomes those challenges and provides customers with an AI teammate that can help them and improve their work efficiency. Anything I missed, Jeffin?
No, you got that right. I'm hoping that we didn't lose the audience along the way. So I hope they got this as well. But anyways, I think
I
we
hope
should
so.
take time for Q&A. What do
Let
you
me
say?
check. Yep, I think that's a good idea. So let me
Yeah,
just
let's
check. Mhm.
let's go to
Yeah.
Slido again. Guys, in case you've not noticed or you've not dropped your questions, I see there's one question on the Slido Q&A, but
hmm
feel free to open Slido again, go to the Q&A section and ask your questions there. Or if it's easier, just ask your questions on Zoom as well, because I see there's not a lot. So feel free to drop it in the chat and we can pick it up from there also. But in the meantime, John, there's one question that's come through, and I'm going to ask that, right? It's around why can't we just plug AI on top of existing systems?
Oh, that's a good question. And Jeffrey, feel free to chip in, right? But I think I'll take this one. So in our conversations, right, if you kind of recall where the problem with AI, the only, okay, I guess coming back, right,
Mhm.
if you bolt on AI on top of existing systems, what really happens is like data in so garbage in, garbage out, right? The problem with a lot of AI systems today, like to the MIT report that is failing, is because there are a lot of data silos, which means that you need AI needs to have the correct data because it can
Mhm.
before it can generate the proper insights and give accurate results. So where deflects has come in, and it's the first problem that we needed to solve really was that data silos issue, and then adding context with the knowledge graph, and then bolting on AI. So if for existing systems, you can't just bolt on AI because then the crucial foundational layers are not there, which is the data silos, the data information, and the context just isn't there. Not
Yeah.
sure if I phrased that.
Yeah, I mean, if
Yeah.
I'm to add to that, right, the way I look at it, I'd also say AI on top of siloed data sets just becomes a better search engine if you think about it. It doesn't actually act like a true teammate of yours, right? Because a lot of the context or intelligence that it needs to help with decision making is not there. It's just looking at a specific data set without context of the rest of the organization or the business itself. Right? So it just becomes a better search. It doesn't have the ability to reason with you or provide a contextual answer that can really add value. Like that's what the MIT report also talks about, right? Like how you measure success and ROI on that really comes down to what sort of an output you're looking to get out of it. If you're looking to just get a better search, AI on top of siloed systems is okay. It's not bad. It's okay. But if you're looking for a teammate that can work across systems, help you stitch context, and help you really reason out and answer something, then you need to bridge all the data silos together.
Got it.
All right.
I kind of,
Uh,
yeah, I
yeah,
just
sorry,
noticed
John.
we're 1 minute over, Jeffin. Yeah.
I was gonna say that as well. I mean, we're on time. So since it is 45 minutes, guys, I think we should wrap. John and I are going to stay over. So if anybody has any more questions, feel free to stay on. I'd love to chat. But let me also go to the next slide. Since we're wrapping this up, thank you very much to everyone who stayed on till the end. I mean, John and I are still here. We'd love to chat more. But if there is anybody that has a question around data silos or would like to talk more in private, or even think if your company has data silos or should you solve for it and how can you solve for it, please just scan the QR on screen. Again, it's not a phishing link, guys. This is a link to schedule some time or demo with us where we can come sit with you, consult one on one, and figure out how DevRev, if and how DevRev can help. All right. Thank you
Excellent.
once again. Wish you all an amazing day and a week ahead. Cheers. And John and I, what do you say we stay on for a little bit? There's about
Yep.
two more questions on Slido. We'll take that.
Sure. You want to
All
have a
right.
go at it, Jeffin?
Yeah, the next one's how do you ensure? No, I want you to take this. You're the technical expert. There's a vote as well, right? How do you ensure data privacy and security when connecting multiple systems?
Well, okay. I'll just kind of give a kind of a standard answer and a little bit more insights, right? So kind of the standard answer there is, DevRel maintains SOC 2 Type 2 compliance with targeting
Mhm.
ISO 27001 certification by end year. Data is stored using AES 256 encryption, etc. Right? So pretty standard in all the kind of SaaS services there. Now, inside the platform, we use the principle of like least privilege. We have fine-grained access control across all data and configurations. And our async connectors, right? They like I mentioned, they not only pull in information losslessly, they are permission aware. They actually pull in permissions across from those systems, which means then that your data imported from external systems maintains that permission structure. And so, we put it this way, Jeffin won't see the things that I don't want him to see, for example, right?
Yeah, basically, like when I don't have access to something in the source system, I won't have access to it on top of DevRev as well. All that permission is retained, right? And I don't have to reconfigure security and privacy and permissions and all that again on
Yeah.
DevRev, right?
Exactly, exactly. And just coming back again and repeating that point, like so like why it took us so long, so much money just to solve that problem.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Okay, and the third question I'll take is that's an easy one. How do I know if my org actually has a data silo problem? Guys, that's why you guys should scan the QR, set up some time with us. We'd love to come in, see what's going on if you guys have multiple systems. But also to answer that question really, if you see your team struggling, if you see scattered data sets, people juggling between different tools, inconsistent CSAT scores, teams having different metrics for the same customer, and if customers have to repeat themselves in some of the conversations, all these can be used as signs and signals or telltale signs to indicate that you might be having a data silo problem, right? And there is some of it that you can solve to increase efficiency and productivity. But all said and done, do scan the QR and set up some time. We'd love to discuss more in detail with each of you
Yeah.
guys.
To be honest, like Jeffin, I think the telltale signs to our poll earlier is just that frustration. Like
Yeah,
if any of you really feel frustration, especially around customer support, and we're more than happy to come and take a look and tell you if you can help, and if we can't, more than happy to say that we can't. Yeah,
yeah, and that'll help us learn something as well, where
yep,
we can't help. Yeah,
true,
awesome.
awesome.
I know we've taken extra time, so guys, thank you again for everybody that joined. I guess wait, let me check Zoom also. Okay, there's one question on Zoom as well. Does DevRev replace existing tools like Zendesk and Jira, or do we integrate with them? I'd say a bit of both, depending upon your appetite for change. We can either help you replace Zendesk, integrate with Jira maybe, and or we can just integrate with both and help be that AI layer on top of it, which is what computer is, like John showed. So it really comes down to your appetite for change and what areas you want to improve on, what metrics you want to move the needle on, and so on.
Exactly, Jeffin. All right, I
All right,
think we
guys.
should give people back their time.
Yes, we promised it to be 45 minutes. We took 50. But thank you very much. You guys have been a fairly silent but great audience. Thank you and have a great day, guys. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.